you're clinging to the light of day, to tell you everything's a-okay, and medication don't do much. Yeah, it just numbs the brain. Guess you might say I'm a little intense. I'm on the bright side of being hell-bent. So, take it from me, you're not the only one who can't see straight. If you were ever in doubt, don't sell yourself short. You might be bulletproof. Hard to move mountains when you're paralyzed, but you gotta try. And I'm calling out, get up, get up, get up, move on. Get up, it's taking so long. Get up, move on. Stop stalling, I'm calling out. Get up, move on. Get up, ain't nothing wrong. I believe you can be whatever. And I agree you can do much better. Trust me. Everybody wants to sing their song. So Marvin Gaye, what's going on? Ain't nothing normal when it comes to you and me. I'd rather twist myself in knots than watch you give up on your dreams. If you were ever in doubt, don't sell yourself.
Oh, I have to unmute myself. No, I lowered the boom. I had that Anchor headset muted though. I was going to say I understand that it's probably a little bit clipped on the music. I had the volume up very high, and I think I've got everything on now. And okay, just getting set up. And so telling people that don't know, we got a bunch of snow. Actually, it's still coming down, and it came down earlier. I mean, excuse me, it came down later rather than earlier. It's still coming down. And okay, I'm just looking, making sure that I've got all my sources going. And I still have to do a dad thing here too. Give me a moment. I allowed enough time, but then of course, going right up to broadcast time, it's a rush to go through and get everything done. So, and I can understand if people are sleeping in this morning and things like that. I'm going to go through, like, get rid of those. And fact, let's go through. Let's unplug that. And I'll set up the audio source some other time. Okay. And we need to go to that. Okay. Okay, that's good to hear. And I think for the at least the live sessions, I think this wireless headset will do really good for that because I can go through and mute it easy. Okay, give me just a moment here. Change. So, yeah, like I say, give me just a moment because I'm still doing dad things, and although I could probably do this later. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Well, I'll get to that later then. I'm just getting caught up in my morning too. Um, how's everybody doing? I've got the things going behind me. In fact, I even have on systems, I think probably for heat a little bit too. Um, and I want to go through. I do have the two systems, the two laptops, and in fact, I thought it was ought to see on how they are charging. One was at least giving me a little bit of trouble in charging. I have that one off, but I have the PCMCIA adapters, and I will try to go through and see if I can get one of them. Well, thank you. Same to you. I'm going to see if I can get one of these, at least one of these laptops online through Token Ring. It has Ethernet. I've got Ethernet plugged in, just in the thought if it needs to pull any data for setting up the Token Ring. And let me go through. Yeah, start up that. And I went through and just locating these PCMCIA adapters was interesting. I mean, I had them in my storage locker, and I should actually grab. There's more Token Ring adapters that I'll do too. Let's see how this looks. And it's probably even a little bit too bright. Yeah, for that ring light. How neat these are for that. And I had some with had had labels on them. In fact, you probably couldn't even get them in the PCMCIA slot for the labels that were on there. And I didn't want to remove the labels that IBM had on there, such as that serviceable use part. And then this one had a barcode, and that came off a little bit. That's an IBM barcode. Kind of a first view of the back side of the adapters. And these actually look like they degrade. Like this one, see all the labels still good, but that reflective portion just doesn't come out as well. And there's a clear plastic sheet that goes over that. So some of the stuff started coming off when I was going through, but the goo gone that I have is really was really good for taking off the label stuff without taking off anything more. And I've got the cables, my bag of cables of that, and I doubt that these have that I've used these since I got them years ago. With them, if they're bundled up like this, I'll bet you that I haven't used them yet. This one even looks like this might be factory packaging. And I had one in here that didn't have the green on it for some reason. It's uncoiled. Wasn't labeled with any IBM branding or anything like that. But these are the cables, and very good ends to them. And I don't even remember the I'll have to go through for the token ring, the IP address. I don't really remember, and that's why I fired up that's why I started up my tweener system here. And this is actually on with the Ethernet switch. You can get that going too. Okay. So we'll do that. In fact, I should have been. I'm actually going to go through. We're going to briefly just switch over to the. I'm going to actually restart the XP. Okay. And let's go and have that restart. Oh, I probably need to do that as well. No, how am I going to do that? Okay, polarized plug. What the? Okay, do that. Just want to make sure how it's progressing with that. And I'm all, even with the power strips here, I'm all plugged in otherwise, utilizing every plug around. And we'll go through. And I'll probably try and determine the IP address before we go through and get that one token ring. Okay. And oh. Okay. And okay. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Are we? Oh, and this is that iProfiler screen, the kind of brightness or the color checker that I have, and I need to get that fully set up. So what we want to do here, let's get over to and I could probably look this up on, well, and it really helped me if I were plugged in to the token ring hub instead of my Ethernet switch. And that's on. I'm surprised I didn't get any I'm surprised I didn't get any text with the Ethernet switch before I disconnected. Okay, and a blank password. Just says admin, blank password. And we want to display IP, address. Okay, we're on hub 2. So 192.168.163.173. And we have, oh, remember, that is the Okay, so that'll be that's the link. That's the uplink that it has. Kind of reminding myself again. Because that's ultimately a /30 for the subnet mask. And what that means is you have four IP addresses, and you have to have a broadcast, which is your first. Well, you have your network address and you have your broadcast, and so effectively leaves 2 usable IPs, since the broadcast and network address are taking effectively the boundaries of that subnet. And so it's just the IP address that's on this device and that IP address at the other end that's the link. And so that's just ultimately the uplink. I was looking at the network and going through and at least being able to ping something or something like that. And I'll bet, we don't have, I don't think the hub has any DHCP functionality to assign an address. So we would likely just assign addresses. And that's what I would do on these laptops anyway, is to go through and to assign them their own IPs. Now, I can go through. In fact, we should see messages as the stations ring in. I would hope. We'll pull out one of the turbos, and I have to realize what screens I have here. So there's the turbo. And we're going to go through, let's get the remote in hand, because we're not going to be plugging it into the hub actually as of yet anyway. So I can do that. Let me get rid of the PCMCI blanks, and I apologize. This is a Dell that I'm using, these latitudes, and actually pretty nice little systems. Okay. Yeah, they have 2 PCMCI slots. I want to see what reaction we get for plugging that in. We didn't get any reaction, actually. And this is Windows 2000, which is normally pretty good. We have our device manager, and I'm expecting it doesn't. Okay, PCMCIA adapters. And this is not commonly a huh. And I must have used my 3Com. I had a PCMCIA adapter 3Com. This has the network. It has a Ethernet port built into the system. Okay. Let's see what it'll do. And I apologize too. I could do video capture from this laptop as well, but okay. So and you'll just have to kind of believe me for I wouldn't believe it be listed. Oh, and I could even go through and do the AdaptTech. I have a okay, so we need to do so add and I doubt if okay. And I needed to select add new device. Let's see if that routine does it. And I'm guessing that these PCMCI adapters are functional too. So I'm just looking at how things are going. Hopefully this is not too boring of this ringing in the new year, going through and trying to do things. And I do know somebody that has these new in box, and it might be to where I have to deal with what installation software out there is archived, because we'll see if Windows did not detect any new devices. And okay, guess the eject button's on the other side. Okay, so I'm just going to try more than one, pulling one out, putting another in, just to kind of see. And it's been a while since I've worked with Windows 2000, but I think we should be fine. Normally it does pretty good detecting things. And Okay, did not detect anything. So I'm probably overlooking some factor to PCMSA installation. Oh, there we go. So that was recognized right off the bat. And that was one of the autos. Let's do one of these other coiled. So it may be me working through my way through to find out if any of these are defective too. Okay. Plugging in the cable and getting the lock on it. So let's go through. I'm going to switch back to my okay. And let's see if it'll give a message for the station ringing in. And we're going to go through. I should have set this up so I could easily switch over to. So it's got a local area connection too. Okay. And I'm going to do just a local address 192.168. Let me go through and make sure 168. And let's do a 0.4. Well, let's do .2. Okay, and that's going to be a /24. And we're going to give a fictional gateway address 192.168.0.1. And the thought is I might go through and okay. And I don't know if I need to do okay. I don't think I need to really do any valid DNS. I don't have any DNS on this network anyway. Okay. And we didn't see a bit of anything. Okay. So and I go through and let's see. Okay, let's do a display. I was thinking maybe a port. And we're going to do 2.1. Oh, actually, that does 2. Okay. So let's do, again, we're going to do display port. And the default is the 2.0. So pressing enter. So that shows us at least plugged in. Now, I want to go through. We don't need the Ethernet port connected. Let's get these cords. I just want to make sure that I'm not interfering with my placement. And as I was saying earlier, needing to have some relatively small footprint machines. And see, I don't know. I charged these, so I don't think it's going to give an indicator on the battery since I'm plugged into line voltage. But now we know we have a turbo that worked. Okay. Okay. And we want to go to that. Okay. And that. Okay. I don't understand, Jimbo. What you talking about Russian bot? If you can elaborate a little bit. I know that I've been off other things and everything, so kind of still catching up a little bit in my morning. And I'm copping mail. I didn't see I haven't seen Major Tom pop on here. And I know he is updating the Ardent tool for some areas. I actually gave a little bit of dialogue that I have a unrelated to Token Ring. I found a microchannel dual ether streamer and then a single port ether streamer. I actually found 2 dual ether streamers. And okay, the message before I just okay. Yeah, it's been some years since I've gone through and okay. It's been a while since I've interfaced to Windows 2000. I do have an all-in-one IBM at home. There's Windows 2000 I use infrequently. And so continuing through, I'm still going to try pull out the blanks there of the two PCM CIA slots. I'm still going to try these turbos to see if I can get one of them recognized. And you would think that I would see something relatively. I'm not going to need it necessarily, but I'll go through and I'll plug in Ethernet. So with the turbo adapter so far, I have not seen anything come up, necessarily pop up, when I've plugged in the turbo adapters. And I've got more of these actually on the way, I think, for the turbos. Let's see. There may be some other aspect to these to get these to enable the turbo that has the IBM holograms. I'm not getting, and the source of these PCMCI adapters, I may not be these may not be good adapters. I think I got the whole batch of them. Okay. And at least with the autos, we see an immediate reaction. It goes through and it finds the new hardware right off the bat. And I had 168 or 192.168.0.2. I was using the fictional address of .1 as the gateway address. And I wonder if I can even bind a IP to a port on this hub. And at least to be like a pingable. Okay. So local area connection 10. And I'll probably go through and I can rename these as Ethernet and token ring. And so I'll pull out for a little bit more further of that doesn't go. Okay. And I should be trying these cables prior to. Is that? Oh, these are, and that's effectively they're keyed actually as it is, and at least I know what I'll get when I eject a token ring adapter now. Okay. So on that is missing the cable clip. Not that I'm necessarily worried about that a lot of time, but I need to go through and cycle the cables that I have too. Check them and make sure that they work, that they've got all the and it's funny on these, they're lock that in place. And of course I didn't set any let's go through. So let's set an IP. We're going to go through. Well, let's see. And okay. And I realized I could be running my cameras a little bit better. Got 3. Okay, subnet mask 255.255.255.0. So we're using the /24, the same as the other unit. Eight. Dot 4.4. Okay. And I don't care about the iProfiler. I want to go through and give, and probably for this broken, this one, the broken, and I can go through and use it anyway. But I'm going through, and let's do, let me just immediately do a question mark. Okay, so it did, okay, question mark, display, port. It's going to do the all 2.0 again. Okay, so there we have 2 listed as inserted. Now they're connected between them, and so here's when the turbo And I thought this is almost a little bit hermaphroditic as well, since it looks the same almost effectively on both sides. But it is keyed. I apologize if I brush my coat against the microphone. Turn on the ring light there. So it has a double bump on the plastic on one side that it does not on the other, just as a single on the other side. So it is ultimately keyed. And you have a lock. See, that's the wrong way. That'll go through and it doesn't insert fully. So you go like that. Well, and then the token ring board is like that. Huh. These are they keyed differently between the, I guess that's just a little tight. So going through, putting it in the latch, or inserting it in, and then you set the latch is what I've been doing there. And that retains it in. That even still has a little bit of label. So that's what I'm doing on that end. Now, as I can go through, this is the one I just set up. So this is the dot. And just to kind of show, oh, and it even has, okay. So if we do an IP config /all, okay. And it shows for the Ethernet adapter. I'm interested in the token ring side. And it shows our .3. And I want to do a ping. And remember, this is before Windows Firewall goes through and suppresses any things like pings. But I'm going to go through and ping the .2 station. And we are effectively, it's pinged. I could go through, I don't know for the main, let's minimize that. Let's even go through. I don't think there's anything that's shared. I could go through and I could probably share a drive. So that's okay. And I'll probably go through, and it is a process, but I can go through and I can set up some domains between the system, or set up some sharing between the two locations. I think that'd be kind of interesting. But I'm able to ping between, and hello there for anybody joining in chat. I don't know why, Jimbo, I'm seeing a lot of message retracted. I don't know if you're providing links or anything else that goes through, and if YouTube's doing that, or but I'll probably go through and set up some sharing between these stations. In fact, let me go through. Um, Actually, let's go through. Let's open that. Okay. My pictures. I think this just has a. Okay. So I'm actually going to do a sharing. Share this. Test. Share. Um, Permissions. Everyone, full control. This is back in the days that Microsoft just said, when you share, just share it to everybody. All levels of access. And, okay. So we've got the little, it's really, really hard to see, of course, but we have a little hand under the folder. And to the station that we ping from, that we first set up, computers near me. Okay. Let's do entire network. I'm just trying to think how I want to do. So we should see. And I mean, this has a lot of domain stuff on it that I probably want to change. Oh, there's the C. Yeah, and when Microsoft had you shared your whole C drive. It's been a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably have to go through and set up a little bit more to the domain and things like that. Before it goes through and because these I'll have to figure out their network names and other things. It's not noise. I mean, if it's on chat, things are going on. But I think I'm just going to go with an hour-long stream. I realize that there is maybe some interest in there and getting these set up, but I want to go through and at least get between the two stations connected to the hub, and where the hub is able to see them in the recognizing they're connected to the ports, and the stations can go through and get traffic across between them. I'll work probably on a little bit more on the sharing and transferring, seeing if I can actually transfer file and things like that across the network. In fact, this would be fairly interesting to see for on here. It's the, in fact, let's go through, let's rename it. This is token ring. Okay. On this station, this is Ethernet. With it live right now. This open. Oh, okay, excuse me. We want to do properties. Need to see if I can get some. And of course, the Ethernet on this side is disconnected. But this is token ring. And this is Ethernet. Okay. And I could conceivably even bring in the file onto this from the Ethernet connection and transfer it over to this station over the token ring. And I want to go through and see. So for the status, this is showing. Okay. That's the way to do it, I guess. That's showing that we're connected. The length, the uptime that link has been up, and we're at 16 megabit per second. And so we've got effectively our token ring set up, and of course the 8239 has bunch more ports on it for what I have here. I even have that expansion board on the bottom that adds 16 more ports. I'll have to see if I can get into the fiber links and what is going on there. I still have those 8220s off the side. I went through and did the multi-mode fiber link between them before. That would even be where I have cabling. And what I'll probably do on another time frame is I'll go through and have the two stations. I'll put them through the media converters to go through and to make them. And I have more of these. I showed the other time. I'll go through and I'll get them into the type 1 plugs, and I'll plug that into each side of the 8220 link, and we will go communications between stations over fiber. I think that'll be kind of neat. But I think for this, I'm going to go through it. I'll probably do just a summary video for the link between them, showing that, and to have everyone, and I need to go through and get some breakfast in me and things like that. We've gone a little bit over the hour time frame for the live stream. I thank everybody for their participation. Over here, I understand it's a New Year's Day. I don't want to get in the way of family or lives otherwise for people. And I know there's some live streams that are happening later today. Other YouTubers ringing in the new year, and go through and attend those as well. But you know, I'm going to go through and I'm going to close out of the live stream, and hope to see everyone, you know, watching the videos I'm producing next week, and the live stream next week. We'll go a little bit further with this on the token ring concepts and get those networks set up. So that's all I have for now. This is IBM Museum. Thank you.